Hello, this is Ananya. In today's lecture, we'll be studying more about strings in Python. In the last lecture, we got to know a lot about strings and their functions, and we had a lot of practical knowledge on it. So in today's lecture, we'll be doing a little more of complex examples just to make ourselves very good in the topic of strings. So let's just get started. In the last lecture, we tried out quite a few examples with string functions. So now that we are quite familiar with it, let's get a little complicated and try out a little more practical knowledge on using string functions, formatting them, and playing around with strings basically. So we'll be solving certain examples here and trying to understand through examples. I won't be explicitly defining and explaining each function. That might get really boring for you. So we are going to do it practically and understand how certain functions of strings work. Okay. So our first example is exchange the first and last characters of the string. So, for example, my string is I am human. My N should come here and my I should go here. So how can we achieve this? We can do so by using string slicing. Okay, so first I'm going to write the code for you, and if you want, you can, maybe you're new to it or maybe not. In case you're not, I really recommend you to just pause this video and try it out by yourself. And if you're new to it, have a look at it. I'll be hand running it also. So first I'll write the code and then I'll come back to hand running it and explaining it. Okay, let's go to Eclipse. Strings new, or let's say strings 2. Okay, so my string was I am human, right? String is equal to I am human. Now I want to exchange the first and the last characters. So I'm just going to print out the statement and we'll go back to our slide and try hand running it and understanding it in detail as to what is going on. I shall say strs of -1 plus strs of 1 to -1 and then of 1. Okay, might seem a complete mess to you right now in case you are not familiar with it, but don't worry at all. We are right now going to go and hand run this thing. In case you still want to try this out by yourself, y'all can really try hand running this thing and try and understand what is going on, because we had done something pretty similar using the range function. Okay, now ranging and slicing is nothing similar, but the syntax is quite familiar if you look at it. Anyway, let's just go to hand running. Okay, so our first print, in the first element in our print statement was strs of -1, and we gave this colon and we close the bracket. Now if you remember, in the range function what we had done is we had the start, stop and step. Okay, we had these 3 parameters to pass in the range function, from wherein start and step was not compulsory. Now whenever you're slicing, it has the exact same syntax, okay, but instead of the comma you see the comma here, instead of comma you simply make it the colons character. Okay, instead of comma just replace it using colon and remove the range function and give square brackets. As simple as that. That's how you transform the knowledge of range function into slicing. So if you can see here, you have -1 colon and nothing after that. So we haven't given the stop and step values. So what this does is, from -1 it starts at -1 and stops where? Is there anything after -1? No. So it starts at -1 and hence stops at -1 too. Now if you remember, in the last video or in the last lecture, we saw that we can access each character in two methods. That is, the last character, if for example if the length of the string is 16, we can access the last character by both 15 and -1. Okay, so that's how. Let me just type the string here. I am human. That was our string, right? So here what is happening is string of -1. So it is basically accessing only the letter n here. N can be accessed with -1, slicing it to stop at n itself. So this will basically give me, let me just type the output. Your output's first character will be n. Now what we were doing there is, we are adding it to strs of 1 up to which value? -1. Now let's understand this. Now if you see, we have two values. We have the start value and the stop value. So we start at 1. Okay, this applies the exact same rules of the range function. If you remember, or if you know, the start value starts exactly at 1, but the stop value actually is 1 greater than what it's going to print for you. So if you have -1 here, it's going to stop at -2. That is, -2 is a. So you want to print from here up to, why not I? Because we are starting at 1. Okay, and if you remember, strings start from 0. So this space and up to a. So if I add this here, I will get a space am HUMA. That's it. That's all you get, because we are stopping at -2. Okay, now what we do is, we add this to 1. Okay, now if you notice here, you do not have the start value, but you only have the stop value. Now it tells us to stop where? At 1. Okay, and by default, since we haven't mentioned it, the string slicing will start at 0, right? Because we haven't mentioned it. So it will give you 0 and stop at 1. Now again, since this is the stop value, it will stop exactly before 1. That is where? 0. So here, according to this slicing, you start at 0 and end at 0 also. So what it gives you is basically I. So this is the string that you finally get after slicing it thrice. Okay, if you are confused, if you are thinking that maybe God knows what is she talking, please pause this video, try this out, hand run it, take a pen and paper, sit, spend all the time you want and try this out by yourself. I promise you, it is really easy. All you need to do is just practice. Okay, slicing is quite a lot of fun. You can make quite weird and funny sentences out of a normal sentence, just the way we did here, though it makes no sense. So this is our slicing program. Now that we had written the program there, let's run it and see if we get the same answer. See, you got N, am, HUMA, and you got the I. So you basically exchange the first and the last characters. Maybe let's try out a different sentence. She is eating. Now what I do is, instead of just ending it here, I give a space. My last character is a space here. Let's see if it works. That's what I wanted to do. I removed the S here since I wanted it to become male. So he is eatings. Though this is wrong English, but see, you can have fun. So this is how slicing worked. You can try out various other sentences and try slicing it in the same manner, so y'all can have a very clear idea. Now that we're done with slicing, let's go ahead with the next example. So the next example is about, let's see, remove the nth character from the string. So what I want to do is, I'll take an input from the user and asking them to tell which character they want to remove from the string. For example, I want to remove the second character from this sentence. So basically I am removing the letter A. Again, you can achieve this by using slicing. It's very simple. So let's just code it out. So let's keep our sentence as she is eating. Okay, no problem. Now let's remove this. Maybe I just want to, you all must take the user input, but just not to, just to reduce the time, I'll just take hard coded values. Let's say I want to remove the S from here, that is the 0th character. So n is equal to 0. I'm storing it in a value 0. Now let's see. Now I'll say fp in a variable fp, that means first part. I will store strs of colon up to n. Now what does this mean? You will start from the 0th character and end at 0. Now what exactly is happening here? My n is 0 here, so it starts at 0 and stops at 0. Now if I want something stopping at 0, it will basically stop right before that. So in short, S simply doesn't get printed here because my stop value here is 0. So it stops before that itself, so nothing basically gets printed. And my first part and my second part will be strs of n plus 1, that is basically the letter H, that is n plus 1 gives us 1, so string 1, that is H, and up to the end of the string. Go on till you meet the end of the string. Let me just remove this space. Okay, and now I want to print fp plus sp. Let's see what we get. See, you get he is eating. I removed the S and I made it a male and it becomes he is eating. So this was another form of slicing where you basically remove the nth character. Okay, this is pretty simple. Alright, let's go ahead with the next example. Okay, so now what I want to do is, I want to replace a character or word with another character. Okay, so basically if I am saying I am eating bread, I want to transform it into I am eating muesli. Muesli are basically cereals, right? So after eating bread, now I'm eating muesli. So how do I do that? Now you get an inbuilt function provided to you, that is replace. Okay, you use the function replace very simply, and inside it you pass the parameter, the old variable or the old word and the new word after it. Okay, that's how basically the replace function works. Now let's try this out. Let's remember the sentence, I am eating bread and I want to make it muesli. Okay, now let's just comment this. So in a variable replace, I give the sentence I am eating bread, right? Okay, now in a character, in the variable character, I store the old word, okay, not the new word, rather the old word, that is bread, because I want to replace bread. I say bread, okay, I store it here temporarily, and now what I do is, let's say I take a new string, and inside that I say rep, that is basically for replace. So the sentence dot, see, that's a string, you get again all the possible methods given to you. So you say the sentence dot, then you give the function name, that is we are using replace here. See, you have your parameters given to you. You have old and then you have the new. The count is not necessary. Count is basically where you will be finding the occurrence, okay, where you can find that exact letter or word. Now since we do not know, assuming we do not know where the word is exactly situated, we shall only give the old and the new characters. So we give character, that is bread here. You can directly pass bread, no need to store it in a variable. I am just doing it. And now I want to say replace it with muesli, okay, and now I say print new sentence. Okay, this is characters. See, it becomes I am eating muesli. So we very simply just replace the word bread with muesli. Okay, this is about your replace function. Now let us do a pretty complicated, you might think, because it's quite a beginner stage for us. Let's do a little complicated example. We'll be using quite a lot of functions here, one after the other. What I want to do is, I want to alphabetically sort comma separated inputs from the user. So it should be sorted alphabetically and the user should give it by separating it with commas. So for example, my input is where are you, the output should be are where you. See, it is alphabetically, that is A, W and Y. Also, if the user gives a repetitive word, for example, if they say where are you, the word where should be removed, okay, no word should be repeated. Might sound a little complicated, right? But let's understand it in detail, then it'll be clear. So we are basically using slicing, splitting and joining here. So we have two functions and the concept of splitting. In case you want to try it out by yourself, please go ahead, that'll be excellent. Okay. Now let's take an input from the user this time and let's store it in a variable items. Input. So let me say input comma separated words, okay, or a sentence. Anyway, let that be, we understood that. And now I say, we remember we did for loops, right? Now the concept of for loop I'll be applying inside a list. This might get a little complicated, but this will be an introduction for you for the upcoming lecture. Okay, we will be studying lists then, so this will just be an introductory stage for you. So there, if you view my lectures then for lists, then it'll be quite simple for you to understand. Now let me just type it and I'll explain what is happening. I say for word in items dot split using a comma. Okay, now let's understand what is happening. First, let us understand the for loop. Next, later on we'll do the remaining. So for word, okay, the variable word that we have here. So for word in items dot split. Now what the split function does is it will basically return, see, it has a separator, that is the comma. So using this separator, it will basically give you a separated list of words, that is in, it'll give you whatever the user gives you, it'll separate it using commas. Okay, so it'll split it using commas. We did see an example before. See, it returns a list of the words in the string using separator as the delimiter. Now separator here is the comma that you put inside the parenthesis of the function. Okay, so we are splitting it, we are splitting the item sentence using comma, and that is why we are telling the user to give comma separated values. And next, whatever word we get, we are storing it in the variable word. So if you say word for word in items, basically after splitting it, each word is returned one by one and it is stored in the list, that is word. So we have created a list named word, and one by one the split function keeps returning the word into this variable, and it automatically keeps getting stored into the list one after the other. So basically you are overwriting the variable word and storing it inside the list. So this list will contain all the words in the sentence separated by commas. So this is what is happening in this sentence. And now what I say is, this is going to be a little long, but just hold on. So I give a comma, then I say dot join sorted list set of word. Okay, this is what I want. Now let's start exactly one by one. Let's start from the most, like the innermost function. Now what is set? Set is basically a data type where it stores only unique values. Remember I mentioned just now that if the user gives where are you, it should simply omit or remove the second where. There should be only unique values in the sentence and not repetitive values. So the function set will give you only unique values. Okay, it will not have, see, build an unordered collection of unique elements. Okay, you are not allowed to have repetitive values. So the function set does this action for you. Now I have the function list. Now why list? Because we basically want to pass the words list inside here. Okay, so instead of saying just list of words, we are saying list set of words. Why? Again, because we are removing repetitive values. Now what does sorted do? Sorted is again a function wherein all the items get sorted alphabetically, exactly what we want to do in the question. Okay, so whatever elements or whatever strings will be there present inside the list, it will sort it alphabetically. Okay, And the last outermost function, that is join, that is a string function, you are using the comma operator to join the list of sorted words. So that's how the syntax of join works. You can concatenate any number of strings, and with that, see this example they have given. They are saying, giving the dot operator, that is the dot symbol, and they are saying dot join this list. So basically all the elements inside this list gets joined using the dot symbol. So you have ab.pq.rs. What we are doing is here is we are joining it using a comma. So whenever you want to join, give any word or any character you want and then say dot join and the string or list after that. I really hope you all have understood this thing. If you all want, just pause the video or maybe re-listen to what I said and make it clear if you're confused. So we are saying join the sorted list of unique words. This is what is happening using the comma. Okay, so let's run this now. So we'll input comma separated words. Where are you? See, you have it sorted alphabetically for you. A, W, and then Y. Let's run it again. Give a repetitive word. Where are you? Sorry. Okay, let's press enter. See, the second double, that is the W, gets removed and you have are, where, you. Okay, this is how you use you learned so many new functions this time. You learned joined, you learned sorted, and you also learned how to use set. Though set is very new to you, but you also did learn it, right? So now we have learned almost all the, not all, but quite the very prominent functions, I should say, that is used in string operations. Now let's go ahead, and as I said in the last lecture, we'll be solving and trying out a little more, a few more types of formatting of strings. So we shall do this now. Last class we had learned how to use f string, and this time we shall actually be using the format function to format the string. So in the format function is of various types. You have the default or default arguments or positional arguments and so on. We shall see each type of them and try it out practically. Okay, we are done with these functions. Let's just comment it and move ahead. Let's just print directly and understand, and rather than taking inputs or even storing variables. Let me say hello, and then curly braces I shall give 0. Okay, hello, and the argument is basically sorry, this is positional, right? Anyway, I'll give empty braces here, and then I'll say hello, someone's name. Okay, basically there'll be someone's name here, and then let us say I am, and then in again brackets I'll say years old. Okay, this is my string, and inside I have 2 empty curly braces. Now these empty curly braces are basically known as default arguments. And now after that I shall say dot format. See, you have the format function already ready for you. You can just click on it instead of typing it, and then you say dot format, and first I want the name, right? So I say hello Anne, and then I give a comma and I give the value 11, or let's say 12. So what it should give me is hello Anne, let's make it hello I am Anne, and then I say I am 12 years old. So by default, if you do not mention any position, the first empty braces gets assigned to this variable or this string Anne, and the second empty braces gets assigned to the second number, that is 12. So it automatically gets assigned without you explicitly mentioning any position or any keyword. Okay, so you see here, hello I am Anne, I am 12 years old. This is how another method of formatting. Now let's try out its various subtypes. Okay, this was the default. Let me just type it out. It's always good to comment, as I said, so that whenever you come back to refer to it, you all can understand what you had previously done. This is the default arguments. Now let us try out positional arguments. That is, you are specifically or explicitly mentioning what position to be accessed where. So positional arguments. Now we shall do the same sentence. Okay, let's keep the same sentence, and instead of empty braces I shall mention here 0, and here I shall mention 1. Okay, now let's understand why 0, why 1. So 0 because I wanted to access the 0th string in the format function, and 1 because I wanted to access the first, that is actually second element from the format function. So it starts from 0, 1, 2 and so on. So 0 gets assigned to Anne, that is, it's the other way around. Anne gets assigned to the 0th position, 12th gets assigned to the first position. Now let's run this. We have both these print statements simultaneously so that we can see if we are getting the exact output. Yes, we are. We get the same output but using positional arguments. Now what if I try to be a little playful and exchange the positions? Okay, now what I'm saying is hello I am, and I give the first position here, and here I say I am 0th position years old. Let's see what we get. See, it basically gets interchanged. So that is the importance of position. If you give 1 here, it will give you 12. So we are making a very funny sentence or meaningless sentence here. Hello I am 12 and I am Anne years old. Okay, so we saw default arguments, positional arguments using the format function. Now let's try out keyword arguments. Now keyword is basically you giving a variable and then assigning some value or some string to it. Okay, this will be keyword arguments, and we'll say inside this let me give name, and here I will say age, and in the format function I shall assign the name Anne to the variable the variable name, and the age, that is the number 12, to the variable age. So what we are doing here is the variable name is assigned to the first braces, and then the variable age is assigned to the second braces, and according to the keyword, and this is the keyword and this is its value, according to the keywords provided, the value gets placed in the sentence. Let's run it. See, you have hello I am Anne and I am 12 years old. So this is basically a simple demonstration of default positional and keyword arguments. We can also use this for numbers. That is, let me just give a print statement saying we were dealing with strings, right? What if we want to format a certain number? So I say the float, I'm taking float for example, the float number is, and again inside curly braces I give a colon and F here. F stands for float numbers. Similarly you will have different ones for decimals, okay, that is integers. The float number is colon F inside curly braces, and again similarly like strings we do dot format, and inside it we simply give the float number. Maybe I take a really long one, 3 4 5 6 7 8, something like that. Okay, you notice this is more than quite a lot of numbers after the decimal point, right? Now by default the float formatting reduces it to maximum, or by default gives you 6 digits after the decimal point, that is 3 4 5 and 5 6 7. Only these 6 digits after the decimal point will be printed, and 2 and 3 will simply be omitted. This is how you can format digits. Okay, so you have the float number is 12.345567. And what if I give a very small number, only 2? What do you think happens then? It replaces the empty spaces with zeros. So by default it will always give you 6 digits after the decimal point. Okay, so this was all about using functions, and we did all of these examples, solved so many problem statements, and tried out so many types of string formatting in this video and also in the previous video. So this is all I have for you for strings in Python. We learned about inbuilt functions also. So that's it for now. I really hope you all have understood, and that's it. We'll see next time about either lists and list comprehensions, or maybe user defined functions. Let me see what I can bring up for y'all. To keep practicing, try out many other functions for strings. Don't just stop here, keep moving ahead. Try out slicing and many more functions. Use the help function given to you all by Python. Okay, I should stop now. Bye bye. See you again next time with some other new topic.